Welcome everybody. Madam for tearing herself away from a sunny evening. Okay. To come here, we will start in our usual way with a Dharma glimpse. Red flag.
Impermanence, grief, and healing. In October last year, one of my best friends sadly took her own life. I was devastated and heartbroken and was weighed down with grief. Another close friend of mine sent these words which I share with you now. When it comes to grief, remember this. You have not broken a bone. There is no default treatment, no cure, no timeline for your healing. You cannot strap your heart to the heart next to it and hope it mends itself. You cannot rest it for weeks or months. You cannot rely on your other heart like you might a leg or an arm. You have not broken a bone. And yet, like a broken bone, your heart will always have a vulnerable spot, a bruise, a burn, a scar. And just as your arm can still ache after breaking when it has been holding too much for so long, so your heart will ache when it has been holding too much for too long. But just as your once broken arm can still hold things and your broken leg can still dance, so your heart will learn to carry you forward, even when it aches. These words brought me great comfort, but I was still burdened with grief. And then I walked into the temple here in Malvern and my healing really started. I was struck by the way Buddhism provided insight in my grief that was completely different than anything else. In Buddhism, impermanence is an inescapable truth of existence. In a world and culture where we strive for permanence, lasting or remaining unchanged. Buddhism teaches us the impermanence, lasting or temporary. It is fundamental to everything, from life to health to joy and sorrow to material objects to our very identity. Nothing is permanent no matter how much we want it to be. Everything is constantly changing. Existence is always in flux. Buddhism explains that our attachment to things and failure to accept impermanence is at the root of all suffering. And as someone who had gone through a significant loss, the idea of impermanence resonated with me immediately. As I read more and thought more, I decided I had two choices. I could try to restore the old life and self that I believed was the real me and how things should be, or I could accept that my loss fundamentally changed me and will forever be changing. I could pretend I was the same person now, but knew I was not. I had changed and would continue to change. So forcing myself to believe the things that I believed before was not the answer. Instead, I just needed to focus on the present, one day at a time, one moment at a time, building awareness of my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all in flux and ever-changing. Buddha would remind us that we should not become attached to our path. It will look different to all of us.
Okay, so we'll let that Dharma glimpse percolate in us as we move into a period of meditation. So having a little wiggle, getting any last little movements or kinks out of the body, any parts that want to have a little move before settling or beginning to settle. Maybe rocking a little, just finding that easy place where the spine is upright without effort. Where the chest can open. Just clocking the space you're in, maybe noticing, sensing the walls of this room, sensing the bodies of the other people in this room. Just locating yourself. And then gradually beginning to settle. Turning the attention to the breath. To the breath, breathing the body effortlessly. And if you like, you can float the words Namo, Amida, Bu on the surface of the breath. Or you can just sit and see your experience arising and falling. Om Ami Dewa Hri. 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 Om Ami Dewa Hri.
For refuge, I go to the Buddha.
The one who is awake and full of love.
The one who is awake and full of love.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma.
All that guides us to wisdom and compassion.
All that guides us to wisdom and compassion.
Namo Dharmaya.
Namo Dharmaya.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha.
Those who live in the Buddha's light.
Those who live in the Buddha's light.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
With faith in the three jewels.
with faith in the three jewels,
and awareness of my human tendencies,
and awareness of my human tendencies.
I pray that I may become aware
I pray that I may become aware
of when I take life.
of when I take life.
I pray that I may become aware
I pray that I may become aware
of when I take what is not freely given.
of when I take what is not freely given.
I pray that I may become aware
I pray that I may become aware
of when I fall into sexual misconduct.
of when I fall into sexual misconduct.
I pray that I may become aware
I pray that I may become aware
of when I fall into wrong speech.
of when I fall into wrong speech.
I pray that I may become aware
I pray that I may become aware
of when I fall into intoxication.
of when I fall into intoxication.
No blame,
No blame,
be kind,
be kind,
love everything.
love everything. Innumerable are sentient beings.
We vow to save them all.
Inexhaustible are deluded passions.
We vow to transform them all.
Immeasurable are the Dharma teachings.
We vow to master them all.
Infinite is the Buddha's way.
We vow to fulfill it completely. Now I need to do. So I wanted to explore with you all two metaphors today. And they come from the last chapter in Nagafriya's Promise of a Sacred World that we've been doing book groups of for many months here at the temple and online. And they're both from Shinran, these metaphors, and they very much go together. So the first is that the person who has achieved Shinjin and is constantly illumined. Constantly illumined. And then in the same sentence, they go on to say, constantly illumined means being taken into the Buddha's heart. Being taken into the Buddha's heart. And I was really struck by these two images. So for me, the image of being constantly illumined is like invites a sense of like full-bodied immersion in that which is illuminating, that that light of love and compassion and wisdom. And I kind of see it on, or kind of experience it on the macro and the micro. So I can kind of have this image of every one of my cells being illumined. So on this really like micro level, being lit up by that light. And then also on a slightly more zoomed out level, I kind of experience my whole self as illumined, and of that illuminating presence of being everywhere, all around me, illuminating everything. And it's a constant, if it's a constant illumination, it's like I have the sense of it being this kind of ground of being with everything inconstant, impermanent, rising, falling away, manifesting, passing, shifting, changing, amidst this ocean of continual illumination. And then in contrast is the second metaphor for me of being taken into the Buddha's heart. And this is much more of an, feels like much more of an active thing. So maybe the other is more passive, the metaphor, and this feels more active, like there's an active taking into the Buddha's heart. And there's something about that I just find really moving. And it's similar to when Neem Karoli Baba says, once you take hold of my hand, I never let go, even if you let go. And there's a similar, both of those like touch me in a similar way. Yeah, that I can't really put into words. And I wonder what they evoke for you. So we have these two metaphors, and I'm just going to invite you to actually bring that first metaphor to mind for yourself. That idea, that concept, inviting in a sense or imagining of constant illumination, of being constantly illumined, and just notice how that is for you to hold that image in mind for a moment. Constantly illumined. And then letting that go. And bringing to mind the image of being taken into the Buddha's heart. Whatever that might evoke for you. Taken into the Buddha's heart. And then letting that go. And then there's an invitation here to see what it's like to move between those two metaphors, or to hold them both in mind, in body, mind at the same time. constantly illumined. And taken into the Buddha's heart. Letting all that go. And I guess like the way I see those kind of metaphors is that like Shinjin isn't either of them or both of them, or in a way like they're doorways, those kind of metaphors. And if we hold them in heart mind, if we evoke them in our imagination, then when we might begin to get something, a sense of what it is that they're pointing towards. Namo Amida Boo.
In gratitude, we offer this incense to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space and time. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting our careful efforts, our wholehearted awareness, and the fruits of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home.
To our seats. Now bow to each other. And bow to the main shrine. Tidy our seats and bow to our seats. Not aware that they're in the announcements. Okay. I guess we'll do the closing bits. Blessed by Amitabha's light, may we care for all living things and the holy earth. Namo Amida do. Thank you very much. Yes, time for a cup of tea. Yeah.
Tom.